Connections by Jack, Jenna, Regina, Gary, and Dawson.
So what does Chuck Klosterman mean in My Zombies Myself? Why modern life feels rather undead. Our society has turned into zombies. The author portrays that the daily basis of society in modern life is just like killing zombies. The author refers to the daily task in individuals' lives as zombies, and as the individual gets a task done, they must move on to the next. As this repeats constantly, this turns into weeks, months, and years. The society has been lost in this cycle because there will always be endless tasks to do, just like zombies. After one is killed, there will always be more right after.
All right, so what is FOMO? FOMO is an acronym that stands for fear of missing out, which Oxford Dictionary defines as anxiety that an exciting or interesting event may currently be happening elsewhere, often aroused by posts seen on a social media website. An example of this is, say you're at home hanging out with your family on the weekend instead of hanging out with your friends, but you see one of your friends post on their social media that they are having like a really good time or like they're doing something that you wanted to do. Now, instead of hanging out with your family, you're going to think about hanging out with your friends more because you don't want to miss out on that thing again, which will therefore make families further apart.
As the fear of missing out is directly correlated with the modern problem of excessive technology use, why can't individuals simply overcome FOMO? Through past studies, a potential solution to conquering FOMO has been to simply learn to live with the good enough option, although it may not always be the best one. However, this approach is far more complicated. In many cases, the subject was left with detrimental outcomes towards their mental health, including depression, perfectionism, and regret. FOMO is a much more interrelated problem than oftentimes viewed as, making it difficult to resolve.
Using technology as a comfort, losing time every day. So the average lifespan of a human being in the United States is around 80 years old, and we spend about a third of our time already sleeping in our beds. With that being said, how long until we are caught up in technology that we can no longer function as a society? And a good example of this would be weekly screen time. I know that people know when you look at your phone at the end of every week, it provides a little notification that says how long you've been on your phone, if it's going up or down. But if we're being realistic here, a lot of people, including myself, just see that as another notification. The truth is, there's not enough time in one day. Between school, work, sports, sleep, and other extracurriculars, 24 hours is not enough. But if we could just spend 1 hour a day not using our phone, think of how much time we could save. It also affects day-to-day relationships. In extreme cases, people that have addictions can even ignore their own friends and family. But for now, we're just going to use a regular example. So you're at the dinner table with your grandparents and you simply just can't put your phone away. You're being addicted to it and you can't talk to them. You really don't know how much time you have left with them. So you have to take every moment preciously. And finally, we as teenagers need to take this issue seriously. We have to take initiative. Kids, especially teenagers, have a bad reputation for not taking subjects seriously. But if we can take control of this situation and not use technology as comfort, we can save our generation and the future generation for years to come.
We know that engagement with social media and our cell phones releases a chemical called dopamine. That's why when you get a text, it feels good. Right? So, we've all had it where you're feeling a little bit down or feeling a bit lonely. And so you send out 10 texts to 10 friends, hi, 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 hi. Because it feels good when you get a response. Right? Right? It's why we count the likes. It's why we go back 10 times to see if my Instagram is growing slower, did I do something wrong? Do they not like me anymore? Right? The trauma for young kids to be unfriended, right? Because we know when you get a hit of dopamine, which feels good. It's why we like it. It's why we keep going back to it. Dopamine is the exact same chemical that makes us feel good when we smoke, when we drink, and when we gamble. In other words, it's highly, highly addictive, right? We have age restrictions on smoking, gambling, and alcohol, and we have no age restrictions on social media and cell phones, which is the equivalent of opening up the liquor cabinet and saying to our teenagers, hey,
So some questions based off the video. This is an opinion question, but should we put an age restriction on social media? And second, what does FOMO mean? It means the fear of missing out. And this is our bibliography. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.